What if I told you the Earth isn't what you think it is? What if it's not just a planet, but a cosmic prison? Ancient texts from numerous religions talk about an original sin or a fall from grace. Could these stories be hinting at something more? Modern science and astrophysics show us that the universe is vast and full of mysteries. What if the solution to these mysteries is that Earth was specifically designed to contain us? Are these just myths, or are they breadcrumbs leading us to the truth? We will explore Earth as a prison in scientific meaning, along with ancient and precise religious debates. Are we, in fact, prisoners of our own planet? So, what's your take? Is Earth a paradise, or could it be a cosmic prison? You are watching a H documentary. Because the truth, my friends, is stranger than fiction, reality is often not what it seems. Is God what we can't explain? If your answer is yes, it will undoubtedly be very difficult for you to engage in any debate around theism. Why? Because you've defined God to be a non-explanation waiting for science to come along. Understanding the nature of God. You've defined God in such a way that the two concepts are mutually exclusive. With this assumption, it would be logical to disregard God and any evidence one could present because science eventually will explain things. The problem is that the God of the Bible is not a God of the gaps as you have presupposed. On this point, mathematician John Lennox says, "I often say to people, have you ever read the first line of the Bible? It goes like this: in the beginning, God created the bits of the universe we don't yet understand." Obviously, it's a joke. That's not what the Bible says. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God created everything, what we understand and what we don't understand. There is no distinction. And you shouldn't just believe in God because I say so or because of the Bible. I'm just showing you how a misunderstanding of concepts is stopping you from looking at the evidence objectively. It is not science versus God. It is no God versus God. And when you look at things this way, science does not erase God. In 2019, Dr. Ellis Silver released a book called Humans Are Not From Earth. Well, the fact is that Dr. Silver was a chiropractor and acupuncturist. And while acupuncture is finally accepted as a proper medical treatment, chiropractic is still considered pseudoscience. Anyway, in his book, Dr. Silver claims that humans didn't originate on planet Earth. Our limbs are awkward and don't suit our surroundings. Our immune system is terrible, and we seem to be shrinking in height, indicating we may come from a place with lighter gravity. Now, this is pseudoscience gobbledygook. The fact that our DNA is so similar to all life forms on Earth pretty much proves we're all from here. But it's an interesting idea to play around with. He also posits the idea of the prison planet. Jail time. This is a theory that humans have been put here to be observed and studied, like in a zoo. We have little hope of escaping, and even in death, we're just reincarnated here again and again and again. Dr. Silver isn't, of course, the first to come up with the idea. It's interesting that so many cultures and societies from all across the globe seem to share myths of beings coming from the stars and either helping or hindering humans when they visit. The Gnostics. Just after the death of Jesus, some of the first Christians were called Gnostics. They got the name from the word gnosis, which means knowledge or wisdom. There were a fair amount of Gnostic sects with varying weird ideas. Some believed in being chaste and not reproducing because having sex captured God's light and brought it down to the dark world. Others worshiped snakes because the snake in the Garden of Eden was from Sophia, sent to give knowledge to Adam. More on her below. One belief they did have in common was that our world was created by the demiurge, a creator god, ignorant, malicious, and utterly inferior to the true God who sent Christ to earth to save humankind from the demiurge's evil world. Sophia. The story goes that God, the true God, created Sophia, and she was pure knowledge and the syzygy of Jesus. But she got a bit lonely, and thinking she was as smart as God, she tried to invent a likeness. But she got it wrong, and she made the demiurge, a lesser god who was the product of the rebellious and profane desire that had arisen within her. And so, poor old Sophia was horrified and kicked him out of heaven. Our demiurge also got lonely and created the archons, or rulers, who helped him to create the material world we find ourselves in. One that is not the world of love, peace, and compassion of the real God, but a world full of desire, suffering, pain, etc., or what the Buddhists would call dukkha, or the Hindus Maya. The Gnostic belief was that we were imprisoned on this planet, and the only way we could stop being reincarnated into this mess of pain and general nastiness until the end of time was through gnosis, or attaining true knowledge of the true God. I'm sure that will sound familiar to anyone who knows anything about Buddhism and Hinduism, where both traditions are all about attaining enlightenment to break the cycle of rebirth. If we fast forward to more modern times, Arthur Schopenhauer, the 18th century German philosopher, wrote quite a bit about what the driving force of humanity was. We aren't chasing happiness, we're chasing alleviation from the constant suffering we experience daily. Schopenhauer compared our lives to being like living in a penal colony. None of us chose to come here. We're not allowed to leave. We're limited by the constant confines of time. Like the walls of a car crusher closing in on us, and every day we survive means we're just one day closer to death when we awake the following morning. It's like we're all in a sinking ship, so what's the point of complaining when we know we're doomed? Shifting to science. The difficulty with understanding that the largest level is non-functional lies inside the human brain. We use words, and each word points to something. The word universe points to the whole of everything there is, and so we know with certainty that the universe is there. There is no denying that the universe is real. Yet, is it functional? To envision the universe as expanding requires the universe to have a certain size. So we bump into a problem then, because the universe is infinite to begin with. It does not have any borders. Let's add another item to the envelope and make multiverse the 9th item. Interestingly, the word universe has now become functional for the postal person. Instead of wondering in which universe the postal person needs to make a delivery, now it is crystal clear that it is in our universe, and not in one of the others. Yet the non-functionality got kicked down the road because the word multiverse took over the role of not having a function attached to it for the postal person. No matter how many layers we add in size and reality, the largest of them will be non-functional. With this context to the contents, we always have a largest setup, the context, that is non-functional by itself. This ensures that whatever the object is, the contents will be functional. The quick explanation is that the materialization process, the Big Bang, happened just once. The largest reality in which we exist got established once. Yet that does not mean we exist in an all-inclusive state. The original state that produced the resulting outcome, and it does not matter how we envision that original state, is not identical to the resulting outcome. One cannot have matter produced from a prior state and the prior state then completely the same as the subsequent state. That idea is simply not possible. For a result with new outcomes to exist, the prior state must have undermined itself. No omelet without breaking the egg. Keep that in mind. The difficulty about understanding the largest of levels is tied to understanding language well. Often we don't pay much attention to how language functions as long as the other person understands what is being said. Ordinarily, we do not spend much time dissecting the structural layers of language. Yet, here we are dissecting it, using easy examples. Everything is a word that can be written down with 1. Everything and nothing are words that can be written down with 1 plus 0. There is no guarantee that another person will understand everything another person says, yet the brain will do nearly anything to get at least an idea about what is being said. In detail, one can declare that matter in the universe is moving across greater amounts of space, and as such we can comprehend the word expanding in that context. Star systems and galaxies are not expanding, but nearly all galaxies are moving further and further apart from one another. Some are attracted to one another and will collide given enough time to form a larger galaxy. Yet that is not a universe expanding. The content entails matter in large collectives moving apart from one another. The universe is the context. The universe was created for us and we live in it, and to my opinion, we will never be truly able to understand it.